Hello, my name is Steve Higgins, financial advisor here with Higgins Schmidt Wealth Strategies. Often it is the case that the subtlety of the markets catch us off guard. If we look away or even blink, we can miss the nuance of volatility, especially when it seems the entire world is trying to distract us or convince us to bid allegiance to a specific narrative. It just so happens we are in one of those moments now. Here at Higgins & Schmidt, our investment process has been operating swiftly. Just 2 weeks ago, the markets roiled as headlines made predictions and cast lots on the prospects of calamity, depending on where you get your news, for the war with Iran and the potential for collateral economic damage. Before the ink could dry on the social media weaponry, deliverance was had, for the stock market at least, as the S&P 500 erased the nearly 10% correction and marked a brand new all-time high. There is a certain dislocation between the rhetoric, human tragedy, and the stock market during times of crisis and uncertainty. As I mentioned before, specifically in our post at the outset of the war in Ukraine, we understand that compassion and empathy are not always the product of our application or defense of modern portfolio theory. We respond to uncertainty anchored in a process and our commitment to our fiduciary responsibility. And in the moment, there's a certain temperament required to hold that line. Will the headlines do their best to turn up the heat? That's when we go to work. Allison Schmidt's article from 2 weeks ago explains the first part of our investment process. As the stock market declines in moments of uncertainty, the historical probability of positive outcomes increases. With respect to politics and geopolitical events such as war, our process is agnostic. Our optimism is not blind. It is founded in the idea that we lean into the probabilities of positive outcomes. That being said, uncertainty and specifically images of war are jarring. The human experience with violence triggers empathy, anger, and fear. As these emotions persist, our natural stress response is to react and address the stressor. In the moment, we pass the information we've been given through our moral, theoretical, and practical filters to inform a course of action. In that process, we assess the locus of control, whether it's internal or external, in our control or outside of our control. Since we can't stop the war, the strife, or the market volatility, we begin to rationalize questions about our current course of action. We ask, are we doing the right things? With endless sources to validate our doubt, and countless hucksters selling the promise that you can have your cake and eat it too, we are, in that very moment, emboldened. And maybe we feel justified to do something that historically would have been the wrong thing to do. Sell. That's where process is paramount. And the mantra at Higgins & Schmidt Wealth Strategies is perspective, process, and poise. Maintain perspective. Stay focused on your long-term objectives and use a broad sense of history and likely outcomes as context. Stick to the process. Our clients are invested in a manner designed to support their unique objectives and goals. We assume markets will behave like markets do, unpredictably volatile and long-term up and to the right. We never know why things will happen, but we do know that they will happen. Stay poised. Stick to the plan and let your past experience inform your current temperament. Each bout of volatility should increase your resilience. You are stronger today than you have ever been before. Last week, the S&P 500 captured a new all-time high, triggering a full rebalance of our model portfolios. The table has been reset, and once again, the process has prevailed. This is a good time to remember that all corrections and ultimately more significant bear markets are different. Some recover very quickly, others, they last years. While the market recovered quickly, we acknowledge that the environment that caused the market volatility has not recovered. The market has a way of reeling from the initial shock of an event and quickly lifting its eyes back to the future. I advise people to be prepared for additional volatility, not because I have a crystal ball, but because volatility is ever present. I cannot tell you what the headline will read, but there will be one. Your own inclinations will determine how you feel. However, your perspective will determine how you act. Our process will support your objectives, and also our poise will determine how you succeed. This is Steve Higgins, financial advisor with Higgins & Schmidt Wealth Strategies.